In the stock market, Jamaica and Trinidad are down while Barbados is up. Henry Anderson will share some of the new initiatives of the Development Finance Corporation, and Pook and Hugo Miranda both join us for a discussion on the upcoming National Agricultural Trade Show. And the brilliant minds, Kathy Esquivel and Melissa Espat, give us a peek into their theatrical masterpiece, Scam. I'm Destiny Wagner, and this is Legacy Markets. Good night and welcome to the season finale of Legacy Markets. I'm Destiny Wagner, your host for the newest source for intelligent and unbiased coverage of money, business, and the economy at home and in the Caribbean region. Analyst and co-host Rafia Flowers is here to provide you with the weekly business headlines and the latest news on the Caribbean stock markets.
Thank you, Destiny. Starting off with the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the JSE index declined by 0.86 in the first quarter of 2024, placing second in its performance for that period. The top winners were Palace Amusement CO Limited, up by 8%, and QWI Investments Limited, up by 6%. The losers were Stanley Motta Limited ordinary shares, down by 11%, and Productive Business Solutions Limited, 10% cumulative redeemable, down by 9%. In the Jamaica news headlines, the Bank of Jamaica is expanding its headquarters with a second tower to accommodate its growing regulatory responsibilities. This move comes as the BOJ takes an additional oversight of insurance, investment, and pension sectors. Construction is expected to span 5 years. Now turning over to Barbados, the island is closer to getting electric buses from China after signing an agreement with China International Development Corporation Agency. The move aims to reduce fossil fuel reliance and carbon footprint. The agreement highlights the strong diplomatic ties between the two nations, as diplomatic relations between Barbados and China date back to 1977. And in their stock news, the Barbados Stock Exchange showed the strongest performance for the first quarter, advancing by 5.5%. Only one stock decline, which was Goddard Enterprise Limited, down by 0.64%. Now shifting to Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, the TTSE had the lowest performance, declining by 1.2% in the first quarter of 2024. However, the top winners were Trinidad and Tobago NGL Limited, up by 6%, and National Enterprises Limited, up by 1%. The losers were the West Indian Tobacco Company Limited, down by 8%, and Unilever Caribbean Limited, down by 7%. In Trinidad and Tobago's new headlines, their stock exchange has switched to faster T+2 settlements, reducing transaction times from 3 to 2 business days. With approval from the Securities and Exchange Commissions and changes to Rules 203 and 212, TTSE hopes to make trading quicker and safer, enhancing market appeal and lowering risks. CEO Eva Mitchell sees these changes as crucial for the more dynamic and liquid market. Now for the Guyana headline, Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo announced that the government is negotiating with Turkish company Car Powership. This is to purchase emergency power to alleviate ongoing power outages in Guyana. The proposed deal aims to procure 36 megawatts of power for 2 years until the completion of the gas-to-energy project. While negotiations are ongoing, the government anticipates resolving the situation within weeks, providing immediate relief to citizens and bolstering the country's power supply. Now let's turn our attention to our domestic exchange. This week, the Mexican peso depreciated against the Belize dollar by less than 1 centavos, while the Guatemalan quetzal also depreciated by less than 1 centavos against the Belize dollar. The euro, however, appreciated against the Belize dollar by less than 1 cent. Looking at our domestic bank rates, as of January 2024, lending rates remain at 8.4% and term deposits increased slightly to 2%. Meanwhile, regular deposits declined by 1 basis point to 1.2%. As for mortgage rates, it increased by 3 basis points to stand at 7.09%. Excess cash in our banking system as of March 27, 2024 stood at $477 million, a decline of 6.4% from the previous year. Meanwhile, excess liquidity increased by 5.2% to stand at $830 million. And that's it for our business headlines. We will have a brief commercial break, but when we return, we will be joined by the CEO of the Development Finance Corporation, Mr. Henry Anderson. Don't go away.
Legacy Fund will change beliefs from small-scale municipal improvement projects to national infrastructural advancement. Unsightly playgrounds, derelict buildings, unsafe bridges, poor housing choices will become a thing of the past. How will this happen, you ask? Well, with the right partners, of course, but not the ones you're thinking of. Legacy is not looking at traditional financial institutions. We will build this transformation with you, the everyday hard-working Belizean citizen. The hairdresser, the tour guide, the fruit vendor at the market. Using the market and innovative financial tools, Legacy brings you and Belize the financial solution to grow your wealth for you and your community. Contact us and find out how you can be a part of this exciting new Belize that we build. Call 822-1794 or email clientservices@legacyfundlimited.com. People, capital, innovation. Legacy Fund Limited.
Welcome back. In this segment, we have the opportunity to get a deeper look into the impactful initiatives spearheaded by the Development Finance Corporation. We are joined by our first guest, Mr. Henry Anderson, the CEO of the DFC. Welcome, Mr. Anderson, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be on your show.
Okay. So, Mr. Anderson, we'll start off a little bit about talking about profitability. So, despite the ongoing challenges, the DFC Corporation, it has achieved profit in 2022 after experiencing net losses for the previous 3 years. How did DFC successfully turn around its financial performance in 2022? And what specific strategies and factors contributed to this improvement?
All right. Well, we had a lot going on. I think the first thing we had to do was to understand that as a development finance corporation, while development is our number one goal, we also have to do it by creating value. When I joined the DFC, the thinking of the leadership, or parts of the leadership, was that DFC, by losing money, that's the way how the government subsidizes the private sector. And clearly, as a development finance institution, DFC, while the motive is not profit, it can't incur losses. So we had to let the team understand that. We had to create a sense of purpose. And essentially, because of the years of losses the DFC has made, it has developed negative retained earnings. So we had to set a goal. So we said we want to develop the portfolio in 3 years without increasing our footprint by 20%, by more than 20%. The operating ratio for DFC at the end of 2020, coming out of COVID, was 88%, meaning if you take your sales and you divide it by the expenses, that's where they are. And we had to start the discussion of salaries and remuneration and everything. Management renegotiated a new package to take less but convert it to a performance bonus. So while the cost structure is going down, you are able to make back the money if you perform. And that was a big deal that they bought in. With them buying in, then that set the tone to actually change and refresh the processes and work on everything we do to just improve the quality of service and do the things we need to do to answer clients quicker. We're still not where we want to be, but we have made significant steps. I can tell you that at the end of 2020, DFC had lost 1.9 million. At the end of 2021, that went down to 600,000. As you said, it was profitable in 2022, a little over $1 million. And at the end of 2023, around 700,000 in profitability. So it has made a profit in 2 years in a row. So we are starting a trend. So it was just not luck. So that's where we are. But introducing new products, streamlining processes, empowering the team. And I must thank the team, the leadership team, and all the members of the team who have gone out there. We had a budget last year called Operation Phoenix, and they went out and basically for 2021, for 2022, and again in 2023, the annual performance has been the best for the last 5 years, year over years.
Okay, so we should expect to see that in your 2023 report. That's wonderful information.
The report should come out in about a month's time.
Okay. So throughout 2022, we know that DFC undertook significant efforts to modernize its operations and sort of pave the way for accreditation with the Green Climate Fund. And this was in an aim to become the only accredited institution in Belize capable of on-lending GCF funds. What impact do you anticipate these initiatives will have on Belize's development trajectory?
Massive. Well, let's talk about the DFC firstly. So we did several policies. I'll touch a couple of them, but we adopted investment policy. We adopted a risk, asset, and liability committee policy. We adopted an environmental and social safeguard policy. That's perhaps the biggest one, because embedded in that comes stakeholder engagement, grievance mechanism, and the creation of what is called, or the implementation of what is called an environmental and social management system. And in a nutshell, what that means, all of these policies were approved last year in April, and we started implementation and rolling them out, right? It's not just the gather dust, because when you're going for accreditation, you get accredited by saying what you will do and demonstrating in fact and in paper by clear evidence that you have done it. So in April last year, DFC started the piloting of its environmental and social management system. What that means is we're looking at our projects and we're looking to ensure that they're climate smart. So we look at all the vulnerability and the challenges and the issues there, and we work with the clients to make sure that at the end of the day, the project fits in with all of Belize's environmental and regulations, the social regulations, and we look for ways to ensure that the project is resilient. What that has done, or what that is doing, we applied for GCF accreditation at the end of January. We just got some update from them yesterday, so that process is actually moving. And GCF was here, 2 weeks ago, we had a discussion about a project for the South, and looking, for example, banana, looking at the citrus, or I like to call it the juice industry. And we're looking for other cross-cutting thematic areas that we get into tourism and other areas. But, looking to put together a first project you have to go through a phase, so it will take a number of years, of around, let's say, $40 million US. And that will be foreign currency coming in. That will be money that can do the heavy lifting that, let's say, the commercial banks will not accept that kind of risk profile. And it allows DFC then to do the work that the commercial banks shouldn't really be doing in terms of taking the kind of risks that we are geared to take. And at the same time, building the economy, making it more resilient. So it will have a big impact over time. Some of these things are unfortunately slow, not because of the DFC, we're moving at lightning pace, but it's just, it's a whole world of institutions they're working with. So we just have to keep the momentum going and go through the GCF process, but it will provide the seed financing that Belize requires to meet our national, or some of it, not all of it, obviously, to meet our NDCs, our national determined contributions,
okay,
which is a big part of ensuring Paris alignment and having a just transition and meeting, the goals set out for 2030. And the bigger goals that comes for 2050 in terms of reduction in greenhouse gases.
All right. We know that Belize faces some significant climate-related risks, obviously, including hurricanes, storms, and flooding, making us the 61st highest exposed country to multiple hazards in the world. So how has DFC...
We're actually number 8.
Number 8. Okay.
In terms of climate change, we're number 8.
In terms of climate change. So how has DFC addressed Belize's vulnerability to climate-related risks through its operations particularly?
Well, for some years now, DFC has embedded climate smart financing into what it does. And as I just explained, rolling out the environmental and social management system allows us to look at every single project that we finance and ensure that they comply with all of the local regulations, and also allows us to work with the investors to ensure that, when you talk about climate change, a lot of the time people think hurricanes and they have a hurricane plan, but there's a lot more to it than that. For example, if you're taking agriculture, right, the rains don't come when it used to come, or plants don't flower when they used to flower, so you need to do different things. You might need to put in better drainage, drip irrigation, and different things like that. So we work with them to put those things in the project. Solar, renewable energy efficiency, equipment. We work, let's say, in the tourism sector and in other sectors to get them to, move into REED and things of that nature. So we are doing those things. Obviously, it's a drop in the bucket so far because the DFC, our portfolio is relatively small. But as we get access to funding from the GCF and other areas where we're going for GCF accreditation, but we will also look at the National Adaptation Fund and other mechanisms that are out there. We will not stay only at GCF to be able to bring these funds in. And what DFC is looking to be is more a catalyst to some, in a sense. We can't take all the risk. We don't have the capital structure to do that. So we will also have to collaborate with the commercial banking system to design projects with them so that we could de-risk the project enough that it makes sense for them to come in, and we could do some second-tier lending and make funds available for them to get to their clients as well. So that's what we aim to do as we go down the road. But to answer your question in short, every project we look on for some years to a certain extent, but even more so since April last year, and since March of this year really, because we now have rolled out the ESMS. We piloted it last year, and since March of this year, it's for every project we're doing. We're taking that into consideration to ensure that the projects look after all issues to do with climate and biodiversity and social issues.
Okay, thank you.
And gender as well. I didn't mention that.
Right, your gender equity program. Right.
Yeah, that's climate and gender are cross-cutting themes in everything.
Yes. Okay, so thank you for that information. I want to touch now on the Master Guarantee Agreement for Credit Risk Abatement Facility. We know that DFC has partnered with the CARICOM Development Fund in this regard. So how has this collaboration supported SMEs? We speak about SMEs a lot on this show. So if you can touch a little bit on that for us, please.
Okay, so I think we are one of the entities in the Caribbean or CARICOM that's piloting the CRAF, as they call it, right, the CRAF. It started a bit slow because Belize needed to update their energy policy and pass new regulations for distributed generation. The energy policy was updated, I believe, or a new one was launched in November last year, and the new regulations are coming out. A bunch came out in February. So we are now getting to the point where this market structure and the regulatory structure is there to allow for this to happen. Having said that, we had a big launch of this last year in September with the CDF. And coming out of that, the CDF made available technical support to any entity that's interested in adopting renewable energy, where they will provide the engineering resources to essentially look and do the analysis of your business, of your project, and then develop the project to the proposal to bring to the DFC. Obviously, that's a sweetener because an entity would not have to pay for that. That has created interest, and so we are now seeing bigger firms coming in to be a part of it. So it's moving. It's starting to move. Now I'll say this to you: the DFC reached out to government and said, let's look at the definition of MSME, and not necessarily the micro and the small, but more on the medium side. But the entire thing. But we were focusing on the medium. because we are getting funds for MSMEs, right? That's what's in the development space right now. But Belize at first had, I believe it was $1.5 million Belize dollars in gross sales for the year as a medium enterprise. And then we said that's too small. And so then it was raised to 4. And so we went back to government and said, when we're talking about, export earnings, the firms that are exporting in Belize are firms that earn more than 4 million Belize dollars a year in gross sales, right? So let's adopt the international definition. And we took, the government took the recommendation. Obviously, all the Ministry of Economic Development, everybody were on board with that. And so the definition now goes up to 15 million US dollars or 30 million Belize dollars on the high end, which means that most business in Belize falls into the MSME space. And that only makes sense because most things in Belize are MSME in the global context. By getting that change in the definition, that has opened up the opportunity for DFC to lend and to collaborate with other financial institutions to provide financing to bigger firms in Belize as well, not only the micro and the small, which remain important, don't get me wrong there,
Right.
but that we could have a greater impact for firms that have a bigger footprint that needs to adopt their renewable energy and can have some greater generative powers as well. So, that all happened since November last year as well, in terms of the change in the legislation there. So all of these things are moving, and we are now starting to see an increase in our pipeline for renewable energy loans.
Okay.
There were a couple 7-digit loans, or high 6-digit, 7-digit loans that have come forth.
Okay.
And if I could just touch the craft, right? What the craft does for the more micro and small, it allows us to de-risk the project, give cheaper interest rates. We can do around 6%, and that's very, very competitive. And it means we don't have to focus as much on land collateral as in the past, so it creates more financial inclusion in the sense, because essentially the craft is kind of like an insurance where if we do everything the right way, we take all the steps to collect. If the project cannot repay, then DFC will be made good for about 80% of the exposure. But it's not automatic, right? It's not that the client can just decide not to pay and then DFC gets 80%. There's a whole bunch of things that must be go through proper due diligence and follow. And if the camel passes through the eye of the needle, then DFC can recover about 80% of what's outstanding.
Right. So, Mr. Anderson, while you're here talking about your loan distribution, we know that over the past 5 years, your loan approvals has increased to some $11.76 million, which was the highest over the last 5 years. How has the increase in the loan approvals contributed to the economic growth of Belize, and what impact do you think it had on the MSMEs, homeowners, and students who want to pursue their tertiary education goals?
Okay, so just let's clarify some figures, right? So in terms of approvals, approvals for DFC, I'll just give you a quick trend, right? It was 20 million in 2018. It went down to 16 million or 17 million in 2019. Then in 2020, in COVID, it actually went from 17 to 24. That's because DFC did a lot of forbearance and counter-cyclical lending. So when entities need help, then it comes in. And in 2021, then it jumped from 24 to 33. In 2022, it was at 32. And last year, it jumped from 32 to 36. And we're aiming to do about 54 or 55 this year. So that's the trend. To answer your question, let's look at recent information. If you look at what the Statistical Institute have been talking about exports, and you look at, let's say, the banana sector, you've seen a big jump in banana exports. That is directly attributable to the intervention of the DFC last year into the banana industry. If you look at cattle being exported, DFC is the entity that provided the loan to the business that had the contract with Sukarne, and then we provided a lot of loans in the value chain to ensure that the ranchers, the livestock, the cattle owners were able to get more heads of cattle available for the trade. Not all of it is going to Mexico, but all of that has resulted in a push up in price. So in the shrimp industry, we have actually gotten things back to the point where in the past, Belize could not grow shrimp again because of the early mortality syndrome disease. We work with Royal Mayan Shrimp Farm Limited, and big kudos to them. They did a lot of work. They have actually created patented technology, by the way, and they are able now to produce shrimp at up to 32 grams, so the big jumbo size shrimp, and they have been doing that over the past year and a half easily. So now they are being scaled. They're scaling up back. In terms of education, the DFC education facility goes back many, many years. I had a DFC scholarship that when I went to school in the States. I had a Fulbright, but I needed more money, and DFC is where I came, and I paid it back. I didn't get a write-off, guys. So that continues, and we're working to promote the STEM space, but we're here to provide support. We also have a special education fund for students who have the ability, but they don't have the family support, for different challenges, that they can actually come in, get a loan, and then they pay after they finish. So that's to provide more access and more equity in the population as well. And that's funded out of some special funds from the Caribbean Development Bank.
Okay, well, thank you so much for those insights. But we are out of time for today. But before we conclude our discussions, is there anything that you would like to share with us in terms of the future direction of DFC?
Yeah, a lot of exciting things are happening at the DFC, and the single most exciting thing at this point is we're moving from a traditional brick and mortar to becoming a digital first organization. So stay tuned, look at us at the end of the year, and you'll see DFC is coming leaps and bounds. We just, with the support of the IDB in terms of technical support and monetary support in terms of funding to get a new loan management system and strengthen the whole wide area network and security architecture for the DFC from ICDF Taiwan. So thanks to the government of Taiwan for that. We're in the process now. We just signed the contract last week to start the implementation of our new loan management system. And that comes with artificial intelligence, machine learning, a whole lot of cool stuff that will allow us not only to provide better client service in a digital space as well, but also to be able to measure and monitor impact and give better answers to some of the questions that you may ask from time to time.
Okay, that's all fun and exciting indeed. So, but thank you, Mr. Anderson. We appreciate you very much for coming here with us today via Zoom, and we just want to wish you and DFC all the best in your future endeavors.
All right, thanks very much, and keep up the great work. You have a really good show.
Thank you very much. When we return, we discuss a staple event in our country, the National Agriculture and Trade Show. Don't go away.
Welcome to City Pulse by your Belize City Council. Join us on an exciting journey through the heart of Belize City, where we showcase the transformative initiatives shaping our resilient community. Our commitment to the people is unwavering, and our city's progress is built on solid foundations. At the beginning of this year, we pledged to rehabilitate 90 streets. Proudly, we've completed 71 streets, or 36,431 linear feet, which accounts for an impressive 78% of our commitment. The Council has made significant progress. Among these, 23 have been concreted, 26 have undergone rehabilitation using the chip and seal method, and an additional 22 streets have been further enhanced, being filled or topped up with materials such as hardcore or all-in, demonstrating our commitment to improving our city's infrastructure. But we're not stopping there. We've identified 41 more streets that need our attention. We are projected to meet 100% of our 90-street commitment 2 months ahead of schedule, accounting for an unprecedented 54,829 plus linear feet of road rehabilitation completed within the last 10 months. This transformation is fueled by a $6.9 million budget allocation, with 59% coming from municipal papers, 41% from the Council's operations, and support from our valued partners. Stay connected with City Pulse and witness the journey of a brighter, more connected Belize City. We're committed to your future. This People's United Party City Council is always about the people.
back to the Legacy Markets Business Show. Today we are joined by representatives from the National Agriculture and Trade Show, an event deeply rooted in celebrating the vibrant spirit of farming and commerce in our nation. We give a warm welcome to Mr. Louis Pook, Communications Director of the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise, and Mr. Hugo Miranda, Cooperatives Education Officer and Roja Coordinator. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so very much for having us on the show today. We're very, very happy.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure, and we are happy.
Sure thing. So let's jump right into it. The Belize National Agriculture and Trade Show, it's a long-standing event in Belize, and it plays a pivotal role in showcasing the country's agricultural sector and driving economic growth. How does the agriculture show contribute to Belize's economy, both in terms of revenue streams and job creations, particularly in the agricultural industry?
Okay, the agriculture show, as you have pointed out, is a national event. It's perhaps one of the largest national events in terms of the population that attends the show. We track the population every year, and we're talking about upwards of 35,000 attendees every year that we have it. And this year, we're anticipating that we're probably going to reach something around 40,000 people. Mm-hmm. When you have a show that size, you are talking about hotel rooms that are booked out up to 2 months in advance, for example, around Belmopan and in San Ignacio. You're talking about food which is being sold on the grounds by vendors, and those vendors in turn have sources for the food that they sell on the grounds. That is, they need to get the fruits, the vegetables, the meat, or whatever it is that they're going to be selling on the grounds. The people that sell drinks, especially fruit-based drinks, which I think are something that you look forward to at the National Agriculture and Trade Show. Again, they need to source what they are going to sell from somewhere here in Belize. And guess what? All of those commodities are provided by the farmers. So you have spending that's going on directly within the agriculture sector as farmers sell to these people so that they can make the food, make the drinks that are going to be available at the Agriculture and Trade Show over the course of the 2 days. And then you have trickle-down effect with people coming to the fair, booking hotel rooms, paying for transportation, using services in and around Belmopan and San Ignacio and Santa Elena, and even in the villages leading up to the showgrounds. We're talking about all the villages on the George Price Highway between San Ignacio and Belmopan. People are traveling on the highway, they make stops, they buy this, they buy that within the villages. And also on the stretch between Hattieville and Belmopan. And maybe even on the other highway, because the fair is a national event. You have people from Corozal, from Orinjuak, Belize City, from the south, congregating at Belmopan. So wherever people travel, they stop, they buy food. You know, you have an uptick in terms of the number of people that are traveling on the highway and visiting all of these different highway stores on the road. So in that respect, you have huge income generation for the fair itself. I would guess, and this is just an educated guess, call it that for lack of any statistics that we might have on hand right now. But you're talking anywhere of upwards of $1 million. We're not even quantifying right there any sales that take place on the grounds, because you do have sales that take place on the grounds when it comes to produce that farmers sell, when it comes to plants which are being taken that people buy, when it comes to animals that people buy at the fair, because all of those are available for sale at the fair. It's a showcase for farms, for farmers, for people that have something to sell related to agriculture. And so you can go to the agriculture show and buy your plants, buy animals which are available. You know, all of that. So we're not quantifying that necessarily, but that's also a part of the revenue stream. So it's huge, and we're trying to make it even better. That is bigger in terms of the revenue stream, better in terms of the options that you have.
Right. Well, talking about making it bigger and better, you had mentioned that you're expecting some 40,000 people at the show this year, and we would imagine that planning a show like this, it requires some robust management just to kind of ensure its continued success. What are some of the strategies that you implement to, as I said, ensure its long-term success in the future?
Yeah, well, there's a standing committee that has to be organizing the fair constantly throughout the year. As soon as the agriculture and trade show is over, we have to start planning for the following year. In the last few years, we have involved other stakeholders so that they can plan together with us. We've always had some stakeholders that help with the planning, that help with the organization of the fair. For example, we've always worked with the Belmopan City Council. The showgrounds falls within Belmopan City itself. We've always worked with the police. So we activate our committee to do postmortem to see what went well, what didn't go as well, what can we do the following year to try to see improvements, either in the delivery of service, in the way that people had their experience at the showgrounds. And even beyond that, what were some of the resonating comments? What were some of the different things that people liked, that people didn't like? Safety is always a huge concern. So we work to try to make sure that we start planning toward that from way early. I'm talking about starting from August or so of the year before the show takes place. We collaborate with different agencies to ensure that we have them on board, that they understand what it is that we're trying to do, and we try to get the best that we can in terms of services. Talking about safety, for example, we fortunately have had over the past 2 years 0 incidents happening on the showgrounds. I'm talking about crime right there. And that's in part because, again, we bring the police on board from early. We meet with them. We talk about what it is that they need. We talk about what it is that we can do as a committee to help the show or be organized a little bit better. They have made suggestions about what things we can do to improve. For example, we have cameras installed all around the showgrounds. We have police officers monitoring those cameras all the time. We've told them that we need patrols at regular times throughout the day, and so they've implemented that. They have patrols, the officers patrol all throughout the grounds, and so there's really never a moment when you have a crowd that is able to just act on its own as you would if you were, you knew that you didn't have anybody watching you. So that's an important part of the show, of keeping things going for the family, because we want to promote the show as a safe family event. And so for that particular aspect, for example, we try to make sure that we involve the police. A couple of years ago, and Hugo can probably kick in here, we had one of the bulls break through the fence. So we looked at that situation, and we had to look at things like making the fence secure, ensuring that we have ambulances on hand in case anything were to happen. Fortunately, for that incident, nothing really happened. The bull broke away. It went a little bit throughout the crowd, but it was brought back, and everything was safe and sound. But
as a matter of fact, we have the best trained and experienced cowboys.
Exactly. So who can tell a bit more about
But to add to what you were commenting on there, Mr. Lewis, I think that the three that stand at the highest is like what you mentioned. Security is foremost, family-friendly, oriented atmosphere, second, and then the third one also includes that we have new attractions. And this year, we cannot forget that the NATS committee is raffling 2024 Ford Ranger, right?
Ford Ranger.
So those would be the resonating three strategies for this year, 2024.
Okay. Well, speaking of new strategies, let's touch a bit on innovation. We know that that's quite important in terms of keeping the relevance for any show. How do you encourage new ideas for the National Agriculture and Trade Show?
By collaborating with as many people across the spectrum that are stakeholders or are involved in the fair, or stakeholders that have something to do with the direction that we want to take the fair in. We want the fair to grow. We want the fair to become more than just a Belizean attended event. We want tourists to know that this fair exists, that it's something to look forward to, that there are things happening at the fair that they can enjoy, that they can be entertained by. So, for example, one of the things that we have done recently is link up with the Ministry of Tourism, involve the BTB in planning. So maybe this year, we might not see as many of the fruits of that as we would have wanted to, but in coming years, we are going to place we call it NATS, National Agriculture and Trade Show.
Right.
We're going to place NATS on their calendar so that it becomes something that when you, for example, come to Belize, you visit a hotel, that's one of the national events that you will see. It's something that you can visit. And even though, again, we're saying we just started that collaboration this year, we already have a few people coming to visit that are expressing interest. Another thing that you do, you invite people from our neighbors, the surrounding countries, to participate at your fair. We have invited people from Guatemala and from Mexico, that is people that work in the government, similar government ministries in those countries, to visit the fair, to have a booth at the fair, to be at the fair. And they can then set up displays that indicate to farmers here in Belize what it is that's happening in agriculture in their countries. And these people are very interested because the region shares many similarities. The agriculture in the region shares many similarities. Agriculture is something that's cross-border. People in Guatemala, people in Mexico, people in Belize plant corn, they grow cattle, they grow pigs, they grow chickens. So there's things that we share in common with these countries. And so when you invite personnel from their ministries or even private companies from these countries to come and they show you, their latest innovations, their latest products, our Belizean farmers get a peek at what's happening and they can talk to these people to see, all right, how can I get this? Where is this product available? What does it cost? And so on. So we want to push the barriers there. And again, it's important to make sure that everybody who participates in the fair, in the show, has a seat at the table so that they can bring other ideas. So we are constantly looking to expand who is on the organizing committee, just to make sure we have fresh brains that are thinking. Everybody sees things in a different way. And even though you might not necessarily agree to everything, at the ending of the day, because of the input of so many different people, you end up having a better product. And so those are some of the directions we're heading in with the fair. As a result of the collaboration that I am talking about, for example, this year we're going to have, as Hugo mentioned, new activities. We have a horse race this year that we had not had before. It's going to take place on Saturday afternoon. We have involved the participation of the committees in around San Ignacio, particularly, that have to do with horse racing, and they have risen to the challenge. They're eager to participate, and Hugo will tell you we are probably going to have more horses on that day than we probably, well, I won't say that we can handle, but that more than we anticipated. We are going to have that big raffle we're talking about. We reached out to more business houses this year. BEC was kind enough to collaborate with us, and we have a spanking new 2024 Ford Ranger that we're going to raffle. It will be available at the grounds for you to see. Tickets will be available. They're available right now at the district agriculture offices in each district. We have a bartending competition. That's one of the contributions that we managed to get through collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism and the BTB. They're organizing that for us. That's going to take place on Saturday morning. And we're also going to have a dog show this year, something that we hadn't had for quite a long time. That's taking place on Saturday and on Sunday. The collaboration I'm talking about also extends to making some of the events like the rodeo even better due to the collaboration we have with, again, some of our neighbors across the border.
Well, that's certainly a lot of things to look forward to. But we thank you for all the information you have given us today, Mr. Pook and Mr. Miranda. But before we go, tell us what distinguishes the NATS from any other events in Belize, and why is it considered a must-see or a must-attend show?
There are so many things which are entirely Belizean that you get a chance to see at the fair. Let's not forget the National Agriculture and Trade Show was originally an occasion where farmers could showcase their plants, could showcase their products, could showcase their animals. That is still at the core of NATS. We also have the Farmers of the Year, which are going to be showcased at the show. That is, they're going to be recognized. There's a sashing that takes place on Friday during the official ceremonies on the 26th. And then on Saturday, they get a chance to be featured on media. They're given the prizes and all of that. And you will not see that kind of thing. Farmers of the Year, you will not see agricultural products at the level or in the variety that you get to see them at the National Agriculture and Trade Show at any other show. There are other agriculture shows. I think different districts have, or different villages or different regions have shows, and they tend to be regional, that is within the district or within maybe the north, within the south, and so on. But this is a national show where you have people congregating from all over. That's one of the huge attractions for the show, that you have so many people, you have so many different things that are coming from all over the country. And again, the rodeo is another of the huge attractions at the show that you just can't miss. It's a part of agriculture. Again, I'll invite Hugo to take over and tell us a bit about how wide rodeo is
here, so
different from other rodeos that we have all over the country.
Mr. Miranda, as the rodeo coordinator, perhaps you can tell us what's new and exciting at the show this weekend?
Yes. I wanted to highlight two things. The rodeo has two components. One is the livestock show, and you asked what makes us different. One is that the farmers throughout the country look forward for the National Agriculture and Trade Show because they come for the best genetics that they can find in terms of horses and cattle. For argument's sake, if you go to any auto show, whosoever is out there, they want to look for the best Toyota, the best Ford, the best Kia, the best Wingle, the best whatever. But nobody puts any emphasis on what happens at National Agriculture and Trade Show. You can find easily some horses that value $60,000, cattle that value $200,000. Again, those are the things that farmers work during the course of the year to highlight what they are working with, what they have to sell, and how that can contribute to the improved parts that we have. They generate more resources, more foreign exchange release. Secondly, when it comes to rodeo, there's an amount of people that are really interested in rodeo. For example, people around Belmopan, San Ignacio, and rodeo has grown over the last year to the extent that you can find rodeo almost all over. For sure, this year we have our main highlight is the dancing horses that we will be promoting, along with an artist that I cannot say her name. Of course, she will come into Belmopan Sunday afternoon at the strip, and she will join us at the arena. Of course, there are barrel races, arena races, pole bending, calf riding, bull riding, which is the main event, of course, and people look forward. The grand prize there is $2,000 for whosoever can ride the bull for more than 8 seconds, or that the bull can jump better than any other bulls. So there's a lot of attraction for the public this weekend coming. So make sure you make it to the arena. Okay. Again, the ministry has invested significant resources in facilitating infrastructure for people to sit down and enjoy a rodeo, enjoy a livestock show. So make it your business. Be on the rodeo arena. Be at the rodeo arena Saturday and Sunday.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the rodeo coordinator himself. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for the wealth of information you have shared with us, and thank you for being on our show today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let me just add a plug there to say thank you to all our sponsors, because this show is huge and would never take place without the people that constantly support the ministry. And year after year, we have some of those people with us, and we want to just thank them for all the support they've given us throughout the years. And everybody who will be listening to the show, make sure you make it out to the Belmopan Agriculture and Trade Showgrounds right at the entrance of Belmopan. You can't miss it. That's a national event taking place there.
All right. We can't miss it.
So carry granny, carry grandpa, because there is fun and there are spaces for them also.
Okay, all the grannies, the grandpas. Okay, come on out. And when we come back, we'll be joined by the masterminds behind the upcoming theater play, Scam. Stay tuned.
Legacy Fund will change Belize from small-scale municipal improvement projects to national infrastructural advancement. Unsightly playgrounds, derelict buildings, unsafe bridges, poor housing choices will become a thing of the past. How will this happen, you ask? Well, with the right partners, of course, but not the ones you're thinking of. Legacy is not looking at traditional financial institutions. We will build this transformation with you, the everyday hard-working Belizean citizen, the hairdresser, the tour guide, the fruit vendor at the market. Using the market and innovative financial tools, Legacy brings you and Belize the financial solution to grow your wealth for you and your community. Contact us and find out how you can be a part of this exciting new Belize that we build. Call 822-1794 or email clientservices@legacyfundlimited.com. People, capital, innovation. Legacy Fund Limited.
Are you interested in diversifying your investment portfolio while maintaining a low-risk profile? Are you the smart, sophisticated investor that is seeking greater interest return on your investments while investing in your city? If you are, then you should invest in the Belize City Council's municipal securities. The Belize City Council offers both short and long-term securities that are attractive financial market options, which provides the investor with greater social added value satisfaction. You ask why? Because your investment in the securities are reinvested back into the growth and development of your city by way of infrastructural development, streets and drainage construction, parks, playgrounds, bridge rehabilitation, and much, much more. Let's look at the key features of municipal securities. First, they are tax-free. This means more of your money stays with you. You will enjoy greater interest yield without any tax deductions. Second, our interest rates of 4.5% on municipal papers and 8% on municipal bonds easily surpasses current financial institutions' interest rates on savings. Municipal securities are also a great investment in your retirement. The faster your money grows, the faster you reach your retirement fund goals. The municipal paper and the municipal bond are both tradable and transferable investments. This means that investors can get their money back before the maturity date by selling their securities to a third party. Lastly, investing in municipal papers offers investors a steady stream of income. You will receive your full interest earned on a quarterly basis until the maturity of the paper. To learn more about the Belize City Council's municipal securities and how you can invest in your city, call our financial advisor, Alpha Capital LLP, at 822-1794. Email at securiestrade1@alphacapital.bz or give us a call at 227-3073. Your Belize City Council, always about the people.
In this segment of Innovators, we have the pleasure of sitting down with two distinguished playwrights who have joined forces to bring us an exciting theatrical experience. Kathy Esquivel, Secretary of Mental Health Association, and Melissa Espat, a seasoned director in the theater world, are the creative minds behind the upcoming theater show, Scam. Thank you so much for joining us today on Legacy Markets.
Thank you, Destiny. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, the first question we have is, how did you two just meet, first of all, and then why did you decide to join forces and collaborate for the upcoming play?
Miss Kathy, maybe you can start that.
Well, I had this play, Scam. I have put on other plays in the past, but I wanted it performed, but I didn't think I had the energy to be the main driving force. I went to see John John's Blue, which Melissa directed, and I was blown away. And I'm hard to please, but it was just done so well. And I said, that's the person I need to talk to. Luckily, her cousin is a member of the Mental Health Association, and then we got associated. I sent the script to Mel, and
I read it, and I immediately called her. I'm like, yes, of course, we're gonna do this. I was a bit. First of all, I was nervous. When they say Kathy Esquivel and she wants to talk to you, I said, oh my gosh, she's gonna tell me she's gonna criticize something that I did, and I got all nervous, but. I read the play and I understood the concept. First of all, the play is, all the proceeds are going toward a very important cause, the Mental Health Association. And I said, well, I also have my own charity, and I want to work for them as well. And they too have needs in the mental health section at the school, St. Martin de Porres. So we are collaborating, St. Martin de Porres. I'm representing them. Miss Kathy is representing Mental Health Association. And I said, this is excellent, now we need the funding. And she said, well, excellent. We have Rotary, Belize Sunrise willing to work with us, and they're gonna be campaigning for this play and helping us find the funding for it. So.
Okay, so it seemed like everything just worked out perfectly, like it was meant to be. So can you tell us more about the creative process behind Scam? As you said previously, the funds are going toward mental health, so we're assuming that that's going to be a common theme within the play.
Not really. The play is a fundraiser. Now, mainly the funds are for the Welcome Resource Center for the Homeless and Mentally Ill. So you can say that some of the characters in the play would be people that benefit from the Welcome Center, so in that field. But it's not really about mental illness. I suppose I have always liked comedy. Well, I think we all do. I have had some successful plays in the past. Probably you're too young to remember, but we did put on Can't Walk Dummy Plantage, which is a musical based on Belizean folk songs. And then we also put on Such Good Children, which is more serious. So the idea is just that, well, I suppose I've read a lot in the past, and there's a novel by a German playwright, Bertolt Brecht, called Threepenny Opera. And it really impressed me. And it's basically taking beggars and helping them. And how can you help them? And it turns out that the way you can help them is helping them be better beggars.
Which, as you know, is the main concept of the play.
Yeah, so that's it. But then it's Belizean, because we all know of people that are, there's people in genuine need, but there's a lot of scam artists out there, and that's why it's called Scam.
So How does the involvement of Belizean influencers and activists play a part in this play?
Okay, well, for me, I think it's very important to find people who are prepared to be advocates, and Belizeans will be a part of something if they see that somebody's leading them. And the people who have chosen, or we have invited to be a part of this process, are definitely people who have a voice. Their voices are very much heard out there. They have fans who follow them in everything that they do. And so if these influencers are a part of the entire movement in working with mental health, then we will have more people understanding the importance of the Mental Health Association, understanding the need for the education and advocacy for mental health. So for me, it was very important that I get people who, one, would be interested in helping us out, and two, those people who understand the importance of reaching out and being advocates for the Mental Health Association.
So as seasoned professionals in this field, what are some of the challenges that you faced thus far?
Okay, why don't you talk about the writing and I can talk about...
Writing is the easy part. Well, no, you just have to keep at it. You just have to decide what time you're going to set aside and just get to it. So that's the easy part. But actually getting it onto the stage, there's so much. One, you have to find a director, you have to find all your actors, you have to find sponsors, you have to market, because no point putting on a great performance with no audience. So,
and for me, I think finding the time to do all the rehearsals, and the influencers who I have reached out in helping, they clearly have very busy schedules. And I can't complain. I can't say, no, you have to leave that for this. This is important. This takes precedence. I can't do that. I am already begging of their time, and so I have to be very much aware that when I'm reaching out to them, I know that I'm going to be restricted with their time, with their energy, even. So that has been one of my greatest challenges. But even so, when I receive the script from Miss Kathy, I have to read it, and in my mind, I am seeing what I can see, what is happening on stage. The problem is, how will I execute that? And even in getting sponsors, I have to look at the set, the props, the lights, the sound, meeting with all these technicians and saying, this is the vision that I have. Can we do this? Can we do that? How much of what I want is really allowed to be happening up on stage? A simple thing like, where will the lights be shining on? Or can the audience hear all the performers? Will we have mics for everyone? And these are things that we have to start looking at the technical aspects way ahead of time before we even say, yes, it can happen, right? So, and that is costly. The lighting, the sound, they don't come cheap. But if we want something executed well, we have to pay that price. And even though we're paying that price, it's still, and for me, it hurts that that's money that could have been spent for the association, or that's money that could go to the cause. But in the end, we also have a responsibility to the audience, those people who are purchasing the tickets. We have to make sure that we are creating something so dynamic and so phenomenal that they will sit and they will tell everybody, Miss Kathy is writing again. We want to go see the play, that attitude. Yeah. And that is a challenge. That can be a challenge.
So there is a lot of sacrifices that is going into this play, and a lot of risk as well. But when the audience leaves, what is the ultimate result, or what is the outcome that you want to come out of them watching the play?
For me, it's the love of theater again. We have talked about the hunger for theatrical performances. We are talking about the hunger to get the bliss alive. It has been hibernating for so long, and we want real theater coming back to Belize. And so that's one of the things that, for me, fundamentally, I think we need to start making changes and appreciating real talent in Belize. And we can only have real talent if we have the space for them to perform. So that's definitely a big takeaway for me. I also, for me, I want them to understand that we have these organizations who are creatively trying to find ways in getting the funds needed, and if that means digging out of the dark, getting the bliss ready again, then we're going to do that,
Yeah. Well, obviously, as a writer, you want to share what you've written. You want to share your ideas. So that's one thing. But also, obviously, it's dear to my heart to raise money to keep the Welcome Resource Center open and to expand the services that we offer. We are actually hoping to have one or two of our participants from the Welcome Center just have walk-on parts, because the idea is to show and to have people realize that there's humanity in all of us, that there's no throwaway people. And so that's really one of the major ideas behind the center, that it's for social support. And we hope to educate people that, as I say, there's humanity in everyone, and everyone deserves to have the best quality of life that is possible.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard them right here live, but the last question we have to ask is, where and when is the play?
I think what we also wanted to, what you may want to ask is, who are these influencers that we have on stage? That's a very important question too. I know you're kind of shy about that, but we went ahead and saw you as our main character, our angel, our do-gooder, and you have been doing a phenomenal job. So we have you as our main character, Ray the engineer as your partner in crime. We have Patrick Prick Parafit, we have Mayor Francis Espat, David Maury is back again, we have Robin Ho, we have Father Jeremy Zippel is going to be on stage scamming people. It's going to be entertaining. Christy Jeffries is back again. We are also having some really fun times with our supporting actresses. Audrey Matura will be back on stage. Charmaine Saunders, Dr. Charmaine Saunders is going to be there. Charmaine Garcia from More FM, and Renata Samuels from Channel 7. And of course, we have other surprises there for it. And of course, we wouldn't do all of this without our sponsors, Galen University, we have Old River, we have Smart. Those are some of our main sponsors who have been supporting us fully. Where can they get tickets? Well, we have tickets at both of the Pink boutiques here in Belize City. We have at Prick Studios, the tattoo studio.
The living room
at Northern Shops, and
I have
Mental
Price
Health
and Company on Daly Street.
And what date is the play on?
Yes, very important. May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're launching the first night, opening night, with a green carpet event. So we're inviting all our audience to come in a little bit earlier. Grab a drink. We have social hour between 6 to 7. Showtime is at 7 p.m. on the dot. And we do not joke around at 7 p.m. When we say 7 p.m., 7 p.m. 6:59, be seated because the curtain's about to open.
Is there a dress code?
For the audience?
No, not really. But you come, if you want to be on TV for the interviews at the green carpet, come cute. That's it, come cute.
It's whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to be participating in the play and want to thank you both for taking the time to put this together, because it seems like it is a lot of work, but it's something that you're both passionate about. So thank you for bringing theater back to Belize City.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And to our audience, please make sure you get your tickets at Pink Boutique along with the other stores that will be selling the tickets. And remember to stay tuned, because we'll be right back after a short break.
Welcome to City Pulse by your Belize City Council. Join us on an exciting journey through the heart of Belize City, where we showcase the transformative initiatives shaping our resilient community. Our commitment to the people is unwavering, and our city's progress is built on solid foundations. At the beginning of this year, we pledged to rehabilitate 90 streets. Proudly, we've completed 71 streets, or 36,431 linear feet, which accounts for an impressive 78% of our commitment. The Council has made significant progress. Among these, 23 have been concreted, 26 have undergone rehabilitation using the chip and seal method, and an additional 22 streets have been further enhanced, being filled or topped up with materials such as hardcore or all-in, demonstrating our commitment to improving our city's infrastructure. But we're not stopping there. We've identified 41 more streets that need our attention. We are projected to meet 100% of our 90-street commitment 2 months ahead of schedule, accounting for an unprecedented 54,829 plus linear feet of road rehabilitation completed within the last 10 months. This transformation is fueled by a $6.9 million budget allocation, with 59% coming from municipal papers, 41% from the Council's operations, and support from our valued partners. Stay connected with City Pulse and witness the journey of a brighter, more connected Belize City. We're committed to your future. This People's United Party City Council is always about the people.
We have reached the end of today's show, marking the conclusion of Season 1 of our Legacy Markets business show. Thank you to all our viewers, subscribers, and esteemed guests who have joined us on this amazing ride. As the season concludes, stay tuned for an even more exciting Season 2 coming your way. For now, we want to say good night, and remember, together, we create a legacy of a better world. Bye.